Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today, presented by Caesars Sportsbook and Casino. So Caesars got a fun game here where you can pick the favorite to lead the NFL in Week 6 in passing yards, rushing yards, and receiving yards. And here's the favorites. Patrick Mahomes taking on the Bills. You got Nick Chubb taking on the Patriots, and Cooper Kupp taking on the Panthers. No surprise, those three guys have been awesome so far this season. To break down this slate and to give you some tips on how to win in this game, it's the best in the business. Emory Hunt joins us here on Fantasy Football Today. He's been giving out winners left and right all season long. So let's keep it going, Emory. So we'll start with the quarterback. Who is going to lead Week 6 in passing yards?
You know, there's 4 pillars of success: confidence, competence, comfort, and opportunity. And Geno Smith is striking aces on all 4 right here. When you look at Geno Smith, how well he's playing, this is looking like West Virginia Geno Smith. This is looking like the prospect Geno Smith that the Jets drafted in the top of the 2nd round. This is a guy that has finally gotten his opportunity. And when you look at this matchup against Arizona, I feel like the Seahawks now know, hey, if Geno is balling, we have our best chance to win. So they're going to need him to throw the football all over the yard. They have great receivers. They have a great passing game. I think he leads the league in passing this afternoon.
Should be fun to see him continue to operate. He's been fantastic. You mentioned those receivers, both DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, 2 of 19 guys with at least 40 targets on the season. So he's funneling his opportunities to 2 of the best receivers in the game right now, and they are certainly producing for the quarterback. Love the setup. Geno Smith, our start of the week here for CBSSports.com. Let's go now to the receiving yards leader, Emory. So the chalk is Cooper Kupp. Are you going with the chalk, or are you going away with taking somebody in the field?
I am going away from the chalk. I'm going to good versus good. Game of the week. Buffalo taking on Kansas City. I like Stephon Diggs to lead the league in receiving after this week. Again, this is a game that Buffalo has probably had circled on their calendar since that playoff game. We're going to hear about this ad nauseum all throughout the day, but I do feel like in order for the Bills to win, they have to find their best playmaker against this secondary. I think Stephon Diggs, not Gabriel Davis, will have the bigger day.
Plus 1,200 there for Stephon Diggs to lead the week in receiving yards, and always a good bet to bet on one of Josh Allen's top guys. And it could be another huge game coming for Stephon Diggs. Love that. Certainly fantasy managers do as well. Let's talk about the rushing yards leader here. So again, the chalk is Nick Chubb. He's been fantastic, but you're going a different direction. Who's the running back you're looking at for this week?
Yeah, the chalk has been Nick Chubb. You could also look at Saquon Barkley, but they have that big Baltimore Raven wall they're going to run into today. So I look at someone that's a chunk playmaker, and that's Jeff Wilson against that Falcons defense. I think because he doesn't need volume to have success, he's playing on that turf this afternoon. And when you look at his speed and his ability to hit the home run, this is a guy that could be one of those sneaky starts that could lead the league in rushing after this weekend. So I like Jeff Wilson because I like him versus the Falcons defense more so than Nick Chubb going against the Patriots and also Saquon Barkley going against Baltimore.
I love this call, Emory. I just want to ask you real quick because we get a lot of questions from fantasy managers. Tyrion Davis-Price expected to play. Tevin Coleman coming off where he was used last week. We know there's still Deebo Samuel. So you said that he does not need the volume. Just emphasize that because we could see a lot more mouths to feed in the San Francisco backfield.
Yeah, here's what I mean by that. When you think about a Nick Chubb, you're thinking about, okay, 20 to 25 carries. When you think about Saquon Barkley, you're thinking about 15 carries, 10 receptions. When you think about Jeff Wilson, based off how explosive he is, going up against a defense that is a little bit vulnerable versus the run, he may only need 12 carries to get over 100 yards because of how dynamic he is. One carry for him could easily be a 50-plus yard gain. So that's what I mean when I say don't need volume. Those other backs are great, but sometimes the guys that are the scat backs, like a Tony Pollard, are guys that tend to have a lot of success because they don't need the volume to get going. One carry is all they need to really ring up that cash register.
We saw that for Jeff Wilson 2 games ago against the Broncos, so he's certainly capable of those big explosive plays, and that's what this 49ers offense creates, even without the offensive line, knowing that it's not going to be as strength as it has been. Still been very good. All right, so here's Emory's picks to lead the league in passing yards, Geno Smith, receiving yards, Stephon Diggs, and rushing yards, Jeff Wilson. Fantasy managers are going to love when those guys all come through and help you win some money in a different way as well, based on the game at Caesars Sportsbook. We have some awesome games coming up today in the afternoon. Cardinals and Seahawks should be exciting and a lot of fantasy points as well, over under 51. Looking forward to that one. Panthers and Rams, a lot of drama in that game. New coach for the Panthers with interim guy Steve Wilks taking over. And the Rams, we know, could be shopping Cam Akers. And then the highlight game, the Bills and the Chiefs, over under is 54. Let's go. See a lot of points in that game, and you certainly can watch it on CBS. We're all excited about that one. All right, let's talk about some props in that game. And Emory Hunt joins us here again on Fantasy Football Today, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook and Casino. So, Emory, let's talk about Bills and Chiefs. The top player prop you're looking at is who?
Again, this is a good versus good game. So I'm looking for Patrick Mahomes to go over 2.5 touchdown passes. I feel like we're going to get what we saw in that championship game or in that divisional playoff game from Kansas City and from Buffalo. So I like their best players to have their best days. This is one for Mahomes going over 2.5 touchdown passes.
He's done it in 3 of 5 games already this season, so like you said, the Bills have circled this game. I'm sure the Chiefs have circled this game as well. They don't want to have it come down to the final 13 seconds. They want to try and win this game if they can. Plus, the storyline that they're home underdogs, so I'm sure Patrick Mahomes taking that kind of personally, so should go out and have another big performance. Let's talk about the next game here, and that's the Panthers at the Rams. Again, a lot of running back storylines here, but I don't know if that necessarily plays into your prop. So what's the prop you're looking at in this matchup?
First of all, we got America's quarterback and P.J. Walker playing in this ball game. So, again, there's levels to America's quarterback. I'm a big fan of P.J. Walker. Hope he does well. This is a game that I think is kind of disrespectful. I also would sprinkle some on Carolina +10 against the Rams. I love the defense of Carolina. They're athletic. They can turn the ball over. They can get to the quarterback, which is why I like Brian Burns going over 3.5 tackles in this game. He can stop the run. He'll definitely get back there to Matt Stafford. 3.5 tackles to me going over that number is an easy cash for Mr. Burns. But shout out to P.J. Walker in that offense. I think they're going to put up some points today against Los Angeles.
Let's hope he gets the ball to DJ Moore. That's been a frustrating situation for Panthers fans, certainly fantasy managers as well, and keep Christian McCaffrey going. He's got 21 targets in his last 2 weeks, so don't stop throwing to one of the best running backs in the game. Next game we're looking at here, we got the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Again, we're expecting a lot of points based on what Vegas is telling us. Is there a prop that you like from an offensive player that can go over? Because you like to give us the overs typically more times than not.
Yeah, Jamie, you know me well because we've been on this show a lot, and every time we talk about Seattle, it used to be Tyler Lockett's going to be the longest reception of the game, right? And he usually catches that within the first series on that deep over route. So with that being a backdrop, I do like him going over 67.5 yards receiving against that Cardinals secondary. I'm still shocked that he got that football delivered to him within 3 defenders last week against New Orleans. So that's the type of impact he can make. And a lot of times his big plays come at the end of the game or in that third quarter when it's time to get it going. I like him going over this number here against this Cardinals secondary easily.
Gave us a little bit of a scare with the hamstring injury in Thursday's practice, but off the injury report on Friday, so it should be good to go and should be big for Geno Smith along with DK Metcalf. Again, those guys are getting just a lot of targets from their quarterback, and we love to see it. Love this prop and going over for Tyler Lockett. All right, we don't want to leave out the Sunday night game. Huge matchup between the Eagles and the Cowboys. So, Emory, give us a prop that a lot of people can look for and get a little bit of extra juice with this game.
Normally this would be, hey, this is a disrespectful prop against Jalen Hurts and quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts. But I can understand why this prop is what it is because he tends to get a lot of rushing touchdowns on the 1 yard line. It seems like the Eagles are the only one to understand the quarterback sneak is the most undefeated play in that situation. So 1.5 touchdown passes is the number here, I think, because it's a spotlight game. Dallas's run defense, I feel like, is solid enough to where Hurts will start to connect on some of these passes deeper down the field in the end zone, not just get them inside the 5. I think they'll go inside the colored area of the field. So I like him going over 1.5 touchdown passes against this Cowboys defense.
Yep, this is maybe the MVP type of game for Jalen Hurts to go out and show that he should be in the conversation to be the front runner for the award. He's certainly in the conversation for sure right now. So going to be excited to see how Jalen Hurts does against that Cowboys defense. Emory, you're the best. We appreciate your time as always here on Fantasy Football Today. Let's recap his player props for the afternoon and the evening games. He likes Patrick Mahomes over the 2.5 passing touchdowns there. Again, he's done that 3 of 5 times this season. Likes Brian Burns to go over 3.5 tackles. Defensive prop, but that makes sense against that Rams offensive line. Likes the over in Tyler Lockett receiving yards and the over in Jalen Hurts passing touchdowns. And we like overs when it comes to our fantasy production. So Emory delivering for us as he always does.